Legend of Enzo Ferrari. Enzo Ferrari, born on 20 February 1898, was an Italian motor racing driver and entrepreneur, the founder of the Scuderia Ferrari Grand Prix motor racing team, and subsequently of the Ferrari automobile marque. Following the family's carpentry business collapse, Ferrari started searching for a job in the car industry. At the same time, he developed a taste for the organizational aspects of Grand Prix racing. Following the birth of his son Alfredo, Dino, in 1932, Ferrari decided to retire and to focus instead on the management and development of the factory Alfa race cars. This team was called Scuderia Ferrari, founded by Enzo in 1929, and acted as a racing division for Alfa Romeo. The team was very successful, thanks to excellent cars like the Alfa Romeo P3 and to the talented drivers, like Nuvolari. Ferrari retired from competitive driving, having participated in 41 Grand Prix with a record of 11 wins. In this period, the prancing horse emblem began to show up on his team's cars. Alfa Romeo agreed to partner Ferrari's racing team until 1933, when financial constraints forced them to withdraw their support, a decision subsequently retracted thanks to the intervention of Pirelli. Although the German manufacturers dominated the era, Ferrari's team achieved a notable victory in 1935 when Tazio Nuvolari beat Rudolf Caracciola and Bernd Rosemeyer on their home turf at the German Grand Prix. In 1937, Scuderia Ferrari was dissolved and Ferrari returned to Alfa's racing team, named Alfa Corse. Alfa Romeo decided to regain full control of its racing division, retaining Ferrari as sporting director. After a disagreement with Alfa's managing director Ugo Gabbado, Ferrari left in 1939 and founded Auto Avio Costruzioni, a company supplying parts to other racing teams. Although a contract clause restricted him from racing or designing cars for 4 years, Ferrari managed to manufacture 2 cars for the 1940 Mille Miglia, which were driven by Alberto Ascari and Lotario Rangoni. Enzo decided to battle the dominating Alfa Romeos and race with his own team. The team's open-wheel debut took place in Turin in 1948 and the first win came later in the year in Lago di Garda. In 1950, Ferrari enrolled in the newly born Drivers' World Championship and is the only team to remain continuously present since its introduction. Ferrari won his first World Championship Grand Prix with José Froilán González at Silverstone in 1951. In order to finance his racing endeavors in Formula One as well as in other events such as the Mille Miglia and Le Mans, the company started selling sports cars. Ferrari's decision to continue racing in the Mille Miglia brought the company new victories and greatly increased public recognition. However, increasing speeds, poor roads, and non-existent crowd protection eventually spelled disaster for both the race and Ferrari. Deeply unsatisfied with the way motorsports were covered in the Italian press, in 1961 Ferrari supported Bologna-based publisher Luciano Conti's decision to start a new publication, Autosprint. Following a rather weak title defense of Phil Hill's 1961 world title, sales manager and other key figures left Ferrari to found the rival car manufacturer and racing team Automobili Turismo e Sport, ATS. Even if the car would be finished, it was unclear if it could be raced successfully. John Surtees won the world title in 1964 following a tense battle with Jim Clark and Graham Hill. The Dyno road cars sold well, and other models like the 275 and Daytona were on the way. By the end of the 1960s, increasing financial difficulties as well as the problem of racing in many categories and having to meet new safety and clean air emissions requirements for road car production and development, caused Ferrari to start looking for a business partner. Ferrari had previously offered Ford the opportunity to buy the firm in 1963 for $18 million, but, late in negotiations, Ferrari withdrew once he realized that Ford would not agree to grant him independent control of the company racing department. Ferrari became a joint stock company, and Fiat took a small share in 1965. Following the agreement with Fiat, Ferrari stepped down as managing director of the road car division in 1971. In 1974, Ferrari appointed Luca Cordero di Montezemolo as sporting director, Formula One team manager. The Scuderia went on to win the Constructors' Championship at the end of the season and in 1983, with driver René Arnoux in contention for the championship until the very last race. Michele Alboreto finished second in 1985, but the team would not see championship glory again before Ferrari's death in 1988. The final race win for the team he saw was when Gerhard Berger and Alboreto scored a 1-2 finish at the final round of the 1987 season in Australia. Ferrari's management style was autocratic and he was known to pit drivers against each other in the hope of improving their performance. Some critics believe that Ferrari deliberately increased psychological pressure on his drivers, encouraging intra-team rivalries and fostering an atmosphere of intense competition for the position of number one driver. Between 1955 and 1971, 8 Ferrari drivers were killed driving Ferrari racing cars: Alberto Ascari, Eugenio Castellati, Alfonso de Portago, Luigi Musso, Peter Collins, Wolfgang von Trips, Lorenzo Bondini, and Ignazio Giunti. Although such a high death toll was not unusual in motor racing in those days, the Vatican newspaper L'Osservatore Romano described Ferrari as being like the god Saturn, who consumed his own sons. In public, Ferrari was careful to acknowledge the drivers who risked their life for his team, insisting that praise should be shared equally between car and driver for any race won. He seldom left Modena and Maranello and never went to any Grand Prix outside of Italy after the 1950s. In 2002, Ferrari began production of the Ferrari Enzo, named after its founder. Since Ferrari's death, the Scuderia Ferrari team has remained successful. The team won the Constructors' Championship every year from 1999 to 2004, and in both 2007 and 2008. Michael Schumacher won the World Drivers' Championship with Scuderia Ferrari every year from 2000 to 2004, and Kimi Räikkönen won the title with the team in 2007.